Okay, guys.
So it does it after I click on it.
We are in the house, and DJ is number one tonight, followed by Jen and the Birds.
Oh my gosh, it's good to see you guys. Good to see DJ and Jen and the Birds. I just cannot get over that name. I love it so much. It'll go down in history. You wait and see. Good to see you. Hello there, Scott's Hugs. Good to see you. Awesome Sauce. And Mark McCarthy. Hello. Hi, Miss Annie. Good to see you. Robbie's in the house. Hooray, hooray. Emperor Rex. Good day, good day. Yes, it's an interesting day. Beyond Truth. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Miss Christine Love. Awesome Sauce. Susan. Good to see you. Miss Dana Green. Oneness. Hi, Sin Havoc. Hello. WS4W S6W72. Well, hello. Good to see you. It's hard for me to pronounce that. I hope I did okay. Miss Annie Lou Who. There's our KK. Good to see you, Miss Susan D. Awesome. Hey, Renee Matthews. Awesome. I got a one. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Miss Elantra. Hello. Hi, Miss Heather Marie on YouTube. Good to see you, Miss Elena. Lily Blade. Yay. Yes, we did make it another day, didn't we? It's another day. It's another day. I'm glad I did fine. Good to know. I'll get faster at saying it. My eyes are a little bit blurry tonight. I don't know why. My eyesight's just a little bit blurry. It's all good. Probably just, doing a lot of chicken coop work, watching the sky. We had like a tornado watch today. It was crazy. Really weird, strange weather going on, like everywhere. What about you guys? How's your weather? Crazy stuff or what?
And congratulations, Robbie, on winning that Beyond Truth, I guess it was a raffle.
Oh, good.
So it's so good to see you guys. And I think, I thought Cortez got something too. That's so cool. And so nice of, again, Beyond Truth, Nina. Just wonderful. What can we say? Another day on the Loosh Farm. So true, Susan. So true. Today was a little, the weather sucked. We were thinking, okay, we're going to put up the rest of the wire mesh, and then the run will be all set, and we'll be able to move forward, just finish the painting on the coop and the run. But no, it had to look like a tornado and downpoured, and it was really pretty scary feeling out there. It felt pretty eerie. But thankfully, nothing major turned up.
No, and everybody go over there and say hi to Nina the Mystic over on YT. They cover some stuff just like ours. They're very good. They're just wonderful, wonderful people. Have a lot of good information that needs to be passed around. And the more we can support that are like us, that we know are human. We know they're human. That's the thing. There's so much AI out there, and it's tough, it's drowning out a lot of really good information and good people. Hello there, Dan Fulgrim. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's just every day is a blessing, even in the Loosh Farm, as Susan was saying. It's just fun to be a new parent with chickens. And, we're watching them grow, and we're hoping that we don't have a whole bunch of roosters. I thought we had all hens, but now we're starting to suspect that we might have 2 roosters, because we had to break up a fight. It was getting pretty testy, and Sita didn't like it. Sita doesn't like aggression, but she does so good at her guarding and protecting, and she was really upset when the 2 baby chicks wouldn't stop going at each other. So we had to give them timeouts and recognize we got to get them transferred pretty soon over to the coop, because they could use a little bit more space.
Dan Fulgrim, new seeds in today for sprouting. Cabbage, pea, and sesame starting today, hopefully. Yes! And yes, Hollow martyr. Yes, they were fighting, and Sita was quite upset about it. No, when she sees, like, even on TV, if someone puts their arm up, like gonna hit someone else, she gets so upset. She does not like that. You don't make any sudden moves around her. She just doesn't like it. No, if there's gonna be any barking or growling, it's gotta be her.
You know, and they split up too, because Rama will follow me everywhere, but Sita won't leave her mom alone, and Sita stays with Cindy. So that's really a blessing, you know. I always know where Cindy is because I just, you know, got to pay attention to where Sita went, and Cindy will be there. Great dogs. If you've never had Dobermans, they are very intelligent, extremely affectionate, very loving, and they are Velcro dogs. They'll stick to you like glue.
Yeah, do not get Dobermans unless you can take the time to really give them a minute for the first year of their life, really, truly. And if you can give them that year with training and socialization, they are wonderful, 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 wonderful pets. I no regrets getting them. I do wish we could go somewhere sometimes. Just Rama won't have it, but you know, that's just the way it is, and we just love being with them anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's exciting. And we do want to do, and we plan on doing a lot of videos on, you know, more of a homesteading topic. We'll never stop covering all these things just because, you know, these are things that are important to us and, you know, the awakening of humanity. It's something I've been waiting for. And I'm so excited to see it's happening. It really is happening. There's so much going on. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. I'm not showing you guys anything else, right? Look at this. What do you think that is? It's somebody doing an AI-generated video reenacting the Battle of Nuremberg, 1561. I always get that number messed up.
1561 or 16 or
1561. Yeah, I mean, seriously, when you look at the wood cuttings, the paintings, the descriptions, you know, stuff being blown out of the sky, honestly, ships and drones perhaps, and orbs, everything up in the sky. This,
that's cool.
can you imagine? And I hope we don't get anything because of this video, you know, but because I don't know who did this, but yeah, this is just so cool. Can you imagine what people saw on that day? How would they relate to it? How would they relate to it? You know, again, a lot of the people probably were believing the earth is flat and there is nothing else but us, angels and demons, or are we just told that? And maybe in 1561, people, maybe they actually knew more than we knew. You know, again, how do we really know? Because we weren't there, or if we were there, we don't remember being there, you know, if we were embodied at the time. They didn't do the big Darth Vader type ship that was up there.
Yeah, I wish they would have done the Darth Vader ship, because that's part of the picture that's so obvious that it was looked like a giant arrowhead. But hey, you know, nothing's perfect. We all make mistakes. And I just think that was really cool. Now, you know, looking at the technology, I can't say that I'm against AI, because I think it can be used for really, really, really good things. The problem is it's not. It's not being used for good things. It's being used as a force of war. You know, I mean, the only reason they're going after AGI is because they're afraid that China is going to get it first. And with this action, the actions that they're taking are very irreversible, because they don't know how a super intelligence that's way smarter than us, they don't know what it's going to do, but they're still moving forward. But then we go back and look at things like this. You know, I mean, this is really, really cool. It comes from AI. I think, I mean, this just really is quite inspiring. I mean, if AI could give us a better idea of our history, and if we could, you know, completely stop aging, cure cancer, I mean, we could do all these things with AI. But, you know, we're not headed in that direction, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is really wild, and even they have patches of the ground where things maybe dropped, from above. It's very interesting. I think, again, when you look back through history, you find a lot of these situations that were really anomalous. When Alexander the Great was going through Persia, he was doing his thing. He stopped in India. That's where his greatest extent of his empire reached. And there was a time where they saw on the battlefield up above them ships. They saw, I guess you would say, ultra terrestrials. What else are you going to call it? Ships in the sky, apparently watching them and knowing that they're going to have a battle. We've always been watched, guys. We've always been watched. We've always had other beings here. This was the angry astronaut. And, he comes up with the question, what if 3i Atlas is a giant nuclear bomb, right? Why would you say that? Again, because the amount of deuterium which is there, it could literally be in some ways a weapon or used as a weapon. So then the line of thinking comes, what if we are being monitored by more than one group? And what if the choices we get manipulated into making literally convince a group that we can't be allowed to progress any farther? They're too dangerous to gain the knowledge of being beings that could go out to other worlds. Well, certainly we don't live in a symbiotic relationship with the Earth for the greater part of it. Again, it's the control system that does this, but most people just blindly go along with whatever the control system does. Could we be literally endangering ourselves in our ignorance with those beings out there that have more technology and maybe would view us as like lunatics, insane lunatics? Look at what they do to their own planet.
I mean, well, it's true. If you just take a look at humans in so many places, she sees something. Our guard girl is doing her guard girl thing. Hopefully she won't bark too much, but just on average, if you just grab a handful of humans and watch what they're doing, the masses, it doesn't look good for us, but I do think it's still important that as individuals, we continue to be our best version of ourselves. And I think in the end, that matters.
So you think about it. If the dark side, gets us to commit these acts that will end up leading to us being sent back to the Stone Age, that's quite a trick, isn't it? Robbie says Corey Good was saying something along those lines. Yeah, I think it's a legitimate question. It's pretty interesting, in the fact that there's a very explosive potential for 3i Atlas. Again, we got that 3i Atlas was basically more of a ship. It's being consciously directed, and they were monitoring and watching us. So here you go. This is a little announcement here.
Colleague and chairman of the new task force, Congresswoman Luna, for her remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Comer. When our founding fathers stood against tyranny, they did not merely oppose taxes. They defended the sacred idea of individual sovereignty. They declared that no government, agency, or title could infringe upon the freedoms of speech, religion, thought, and the pursuit of truth. For too long, the American spirit has been dimmed by a veil of secrecy, by a government that has grown too comfortable in the shadows, denying us the transparency we deserve. But today, we stand at the dawn of a new era, where the light of truth begins to shine through. A few weeks ago, President Donald Trump made a historic announcement. With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A decision not just monumental, but pivotal. It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies.
But we shouldn't hold our breath. This is the thing. Again, you know, they have given us disclosure. And yet, you know, did we get the entire E-Man list? No. You know, do we really have? We have just a little bit of motion going on there as far as like officially with any sort of real legal ramifications. We haven't seen any legal ramifications, again, for everything going on with the plague upon the land. But there is a little bit. There's a little bit going. Is it just simply enough to keep the masses placated? Is that all that they are truly doing? We were showing on, I think it was this morning's video, a USO that was seen off the shores of Puerto Rico. This is off Sao Paulo in Brazil. Something that's definitely underwater. You know, will the scientists tell us it's just some bioluminescent fish? Yeah, they probably would try to tell us that. But again, we understand, you know, the myth of Dogen, Dagon, and Owans, you know, these beings that came out of the sea that taught humans a lot of things. These are real beings. They are real beings. We understand through the myths of Agartha and Shambhala, Shangri-La, you know, we've never been alone here, and there are advanced civilizations that do watch us and monitor us. Here, this is talking about Caroline Leavitt announced a 1 p.m. briefing on the 27th. And, you know, again, they keep talking about this full disclosure of UAP aliens. Meanwhile, how much of it is just to distract us again from other things? Like right now, the bombing of Lebanon, for instance, that is turning Lebanon into Gaza, and all the things that are still going on over in Gaza. You know, there's so much, and, you know, it's always a shell game. They just are constantly trying to get us to look somewhere that they don't, in order to hide something. Look somewhere else so they could hide something somewhere else.
Yeah, that's you know, a shell game. I think that's a really, really, really good way to put it. And just, you know, there's what do we do with this? How do we move forward? I think again, it's about turning within, definitely turning within, and, you know, focusing on making yourself as healthy as you possibly can. What else can we do? You know, we're not in control of this external world so much as we are in control of how we think and what kind of thoughts we put out there to become reality. You know, to some extent, we all have created this collective reality, and in that sense, I think we can all change this collective reality.
So this is talking about Tulsi Gabbard, touchdown at Area 51, disclosure accelerating. George Knapp dropped the bombshell on weaponized podcast recorded on the 25th. high-level VIP, strongly implied to be Tulsi Gabbard, flew into Nellis last week. Flight records do confirm that she did arrive in Nellis April 21st, 22nd, and then a smaller plane shuttled to Groom Lake, Area 51, back to Vegas. Literally are some of the politicians that have not been on the need to know list being allowed more access now? The floodgates, are they really truly about to open wide, and what's the purpose? Meanwhile, this is Argentina. There are so many sites going on constantly.
¿Qué es eso?
So you see that like smoke ring. This might indicate more like SpaceX, but I don't think SpaceX is down in Argentina. I've never heard of them launching over there. In fact, I was listening to this guy. I think his channel is something like the roving venture capitalist or what have you. And he was talking about the safest places for these times, and a lot of people are heading to South America, Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, etc. Because, if there was a full-scale WW3, these areas should be relatively safe. So, obviously these people are curious about this, and I do think it's curious.
Yeah, I mean, what do? You go out there and you see something like that in the sun, of course, you're going to videotape it and talk about it. But I really think to a very high degree, when we see something like that and we're talking about it, I feel strongly they know that you're talking about it, whether it be a plasma ship of some kind or even one of ours, because I think they have that ability to see people's energy. I know that there is a technology out there that can pick up someone's heartbeat. They know the rhythm of the heartbeat, and that was used just not too long ago to find a pilot. But, wow. I mean, what technology we have. But, I mean, it really, in comparison to the natural wonders of the world, still technology is very, very drab and very gray and very boring, even though like right now, since our, in our young eyes, it looks fascinating. And always it's still very drab when it comes to Earth's technology and what she is capable of. So, I do love when I see the light ships or the plasma ships or even the ones that just look like an orb. Those to me are far more fascinating, but it's fun. It's fun to see the other technologies up there and just wonder what's in there. And then what are they thinking about us when they're looking back?
And they probably look at us like we would look at the tribes in the deep Amazon.
Yeah, right.
NSA UFO bombshell, ancient Earth civilizations still here. Former NSA Research Director, U.S. Intel CTO Eric Hasseltine drops truth. Some UFOs are real and could be from a lost advanced civilization right here on Earth. Okay, so then we're talking again about maybe Agartha. Maybe we're talking about Shangri-La, Shambhala. Maybe we're talking about even ones that we've never even really known. The Earth is much bigger than we're told, and I forget who it was that said that. Sin Havoc, maybe, Argentina might be bigger than we know. Well, Argentina and Chile, they're as close as you get to Antarctica. I do think that we know, like, the Mercator map is totally distorted, completely distorted. When you look at it, the vast majority of our land masses are in the northern hemisphere. By far, I don't know what the split is. It's a good question for chat. I don't know. Is it 80-20, 80% of the land masses in the northern hemisphere? I think there's a lot of the southern hemisphere that they don't even let us really see, when you look at it. But here, this is a great, observation, and this is somebody that's pretty high up, NSA research director. Yeah, advanced civilizations, absolutely. Some of them are advanced civilizations. They've been here our entire time, the entire time we've been here. So, when you look at things like this, it could be anybody, again, it doesn't have to be from another world. Could be ours, could be somebody else's that is a resident of Earth.
Yeah, I mean, look at here. We just have construction workers. They're just out doing their thing at night, because it's probably really hot. Aw, thank you, KK. Much appreciation to you too, my love. Thank you so much. We're looking at this, and what are they thinking? I mean, to me, I think this is probably a technology that I'm looking at. I think it just happens to have a very bright light. Miss Susan Donahue, thank you so much. With much gratitude to you too, you guys. Definitely stay to the end. Some very special dings at the end for everyone. Thank you. That really, really helps, you guys. Helps us keep going. But yeah, there's just so much out there, and it is, I mean, it's almost humorous now when you're going through looking at all the sightings, looking at them and saying, watching what AI can do, because AI people are really getting creative with AI. But at the same time, I think that's almost deliberate, because they want people to question, whether anything is real. They want people in a state of chaos right now. They want people very, very confused, or even just to throw it all out the window. They want people afraid, but we're not going to do that here. Here, we're going to be grounded. We're going to talk about things. We're going to shine a light on things that are not right and are not fair, in hopes that we can change things and make a difference. And, thank you so much, all of you guys, for being here.
This is an interview all the way back in 1993. Where were you guys in 1993? I wonder, quite a few probably haven't been born yet. Here you go. This is NASA engineer Bob Oshler, right? This is 1993. I mean, we had disclosure right there.
I have, in fact, seen with my own eyes on quite a number of occasions, well over 20, at very close range, a number of these vehicles. It's quite extraordinary technology. Anybody interested in technology it's like a kid in a candy store, really.
And there's no way that you could be mistaken, and it could have been an airplane, helicopter, or something of that nature?
Well, Admiral Inman convinced me that these vehicles were not manufactured by human technology, so that's pretty conclusive for me.
Do you think, though, that the government know this is happening, know that it's going on, but why don't they want the rest of us to know? Why do they not want that?
Yes, you are correct. The government, many governments around the world do in fact know. In fact, NATO conducted a study in the 60s involving quite a number of these incidents. The decisions to maintain secrecy regarding this center more around not upsetting the economic apple cart, religion, theology issues that come into play, and quite a number of issues that essentially center around science and technology.
So, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's a NASA engineer. He's seen with his own eyes over 20 different UFOs that they had that weren't ours. So, I mean, that's, 33 years ago. Wow, 33 years ago. That was disclosure. I mean, that really should do it. But then again, so much of the religious indoctrination keeps people from being able to accept it.
Oh man, I'm already recording, Theo. Go call them. Call Slim.
We have so many of these things all over the world every night. This one, Pomona, California. Another fireball. Boy, we were showing all those old medieval pieces of art. Some of them literally 1,000 years old. A lot of them are religiously oriented. And they're showing some of them show angels and people in craft. Angels, with wings. And then next to it, somebody in like a flying starship.
And when you're looking at this fireball, it's just kind of, the angle is kind of odd. It's going upward when, if it's just a fireball, why wouldn't it be coming down, And then, instead of anything just going on and on, it kind of rolls up into itself, and you just see this ball, and then poof, it disappears. And this is happening so often right now. And when I was feeling into that energetically, it really feels like there's a lot of beings coming here to be on Earth during this time. A lot of our star family, most of it star family, not all, but a lot of it star family. So if you're one that's seeing this, or if you've had a sighting, that's no mistake. That's absolutely no mistake. That is your star family saying, hey, we're here. We got your back. We're here during your awakening, and we're going to be here through any kind of turbulation. So I think these are really cool.
Yeah. So, Christine was 23 years old, living in New Haven, Connecticut. Well, we were practically neighbors. I was over in Milford. Susan had celebrated her first anniversary. How beautiful. And Martine was in South Korea in the Army. 23 at that point in time. KK was living in Tacoma, raising her boys. Yeah, it's, wow, it's, time flies. Time flies. Dan says 1993 still seemed normal. 94 things got weird. Yeah, I would agree with you. It was like right around that 93, 94 that I started to really wonder about a lot of things, especially, the government, and feeling that all governments, they're hiding stuff. And here you go. I mean, we've had multiple videos where people are showing unusual lights up around the moon. Of course, it might not be very close to the moon, or it could be, and what is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. They're just sort of floating around the moon. Interesting.
Yes, and Art Bell, absolutely, and Alan Watts, with you there. Coast to Coast Radio at night. I would just do my best to even wake up and then listen to it for a few hours, go back to sleep, and get up and go work in the morning. Yeah. Remember Whitley Strieber? He wrote Communion and other books too. Far-right Christians like J.D. Vance will think aliens are demons. I don't really think, again, I don't think there's any of these higher-level politicians that really are any of the religions that they say they are. I think that's just, again, to get votes, to appeal to certain people. It's just what they do.
Susan Donahue says we didn't have room in our freezer for the top of the wedding cake, and your mother-in-law took it home and ate it. I'm sorry. I'm probably one of those rotten mother-in-laws. I would have loved a piece of cake. I mean, I do. I would probably eat it. Yeah, I'm kind of brutal that way. But I'm sorry. I hope you weren't devastated. But it sounds like it must have looked really, really, really good.
Yeah, Cindy's a wonderful lady, but yeah, they say all fair in love and war. Well, it's kind of like all's fair when there's chocolate cake around.
And if he doesn't eat it,
or cookies. No, I mean, I kind of like savor things and nibble on things that are more on the naughty side. And again, we don't buy anything that's not organic, and we don't eat regular sugar at all. But when it comes to whatever it is that we put together, you got to make sure that you get some for yourself, because Cindy will kill it. She's only 120 pounds, but the girl could eat. So yeah, UFO disclosure will trigger a massive religious shock. Many faiths will see visitors as children of God. Others will say they're demons or jinn. Yeah, but Whitley Strieber rejects the supernatural label completely. They're not angels or demons. They're just beings with advanced technology. Some from here, some from other places. Yeah, and again, I think when you talk about demons, it's a demonic tendency, a tendency towards service to the self that can be destructive, sometimes self-destructive, but also destructive to others. Peter Lavenda, alien invasion may not be what you think. The invasion may not be physical craft. The invasion may be one day we all wake up having had the same dream. The invasion could be consciousness. The invasion could be manipulation. He says if the CIA knew the UFO phenomenon was real and not man-made, but affecting people worldwide, the only way in it is through people's experiences, not the technology. Witnesses describe craft interiors as clean surfaces with no controls, dials, or systems. What if the real invasion is already happening and it's in our minds? Yeah, totally. Completely. I think that we've already had that. I think that's where we're at right now.
Or let me find out how this works. I may have to take drastic measures to find out how this works because I don't know how close we are to some kind of an invasion or something. And as I've written about in other places, the invasion may not be physical craft. The invasion may be one day we all wake up having had the same dream. The invasion could be consciousness. The invasion could be manipulation.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about the invasion is in our minds. That to me is so frighteningly plausible, that the war, everything that's going on, because our minds, we are so manipulated by frequency. We are so manipulated by frequency. You can walk into a room and if somebody's in a foul enough mood, you could end up in a very, very bad mood. So what would it take? They would just have to send out a wave of negative energy and then get people fighting and scrapping and not liking each other. Or, they could send out a wave of energy of pure love and bliss and just get people to not care about anything that's going on around them. That's the problem with humans, is we can be so moved by emotion, and we've come here and we are called to really anchor our emotions into a very grounded state so we can function without, being like so up and down and bipolar, but then again, you don't want to miss anything because that's part of being human, is our emotion.
Oh, absolutely. This is a cruise ship captain, Kate McHugh, and she shares one of her experiences. It's interesting because I haven't spent a ton of time out at sea. I would love to, but I have noticed things out there, and it's so vast. Most of the world is covered by water, and, there's so much out there.
And it sailed right over the retreat, directly through the center line of the ship, right through our X and our stack, and just floated through. Thing was, we had no wind, maybe 5 knots at the time, but this thing was cruising along about 10, 15 miles per hour, just cruised right over, and as it passed the stern of the ship, it went a couple hundred meters, maybe 300 to 400 meters, and then it started to descend into the water. But because it was sunset, we couldn't put a rescue boat down to go see what it was, but it disappeared into the water, and we have it wasn't a drone, there was no noise associated with it, so if you want to see our UFO, it's on TikTok. On TikTok, it looked like a...
Yeah, that's pretty wild again. It's all going to be revealed, guys. It's all going to be revealed. Here, a witness in Ohio captured a UFO so close it's unreal. It's directly above his rig on a rural road, like he could literally reach up and touch it, and that starts glowing bright red. This is Myra. I forget what her channel is. Myra Moore Paranormal. This is one of ours. These are, again, the ones you got to be very careful of. It's one of ours, and these are some of the more dangerous ones because they do emit radiation.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way, the hardest way possible, radiation and then some. you definitely don't want one of these things to be stuck and kind of connected to you. That's for sure. So, yeah, these things are a problem, and I'm sure that there's more than just these kind that emit radiation. I'm sure a lot of them emit radiation. So, I mean, there's more than just the awe of it all and just being regularly scared. There's the, oh my gosh, something bad could really happen to your mind and body and and everything else, like what happened to us. But no, this is a time to be curious yet cautious.
Yeah, curiously cautious. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anna, I'm sorry that you're having a hard time with that transaction, because I know you were looking to close. I hope everything smooths out there. It can be tricky out there in these times. So, some other reports of fireballs and things like that. You have a bright green fireball reported over Buenos Aires. This is, again, we were talking about Argentina and South America. There's so many sightings. You can't keep up with them. There also was an asteroid, 2026 HZ4, passed Earth at 0.072 lunar distance, second closest of the year. That's close. I mean, that's real close. Now, usually when these get this close, they're very small, like, maybe, 10 feet, 20 feet. That is what we hope for. See, this is classified as, 9.8 to 22 feet, but a very, very close call. And Poland, in fact, was struck by a meteorite after a fireball lights up the skies on April 17th. Then an impact crater and a rock was found on the 22nd, 5 days later. They found what they say was a fragment of it. Interesting.
Yeah, that is very, very, very curious. What are we to think about that? Lots going on in the chat. People trying to, everyone who's trying to sell. Boy, I hope you get it sold and do all the things that you want to do. It's important. Especially in a chaotic time when you're trying to do something big like this, you just sort of want it done,
Yeah, absolutely. It's time to come together as much as we can to work together. It's going to be interesting times. This is Korea on the 24th. As you can see, many reports all across Korea. They always tend to look the same, and they're all over the world. This is over Italy and 5 other countries. Look at how long that tail is on this one. Wow, it's a beautiful color too. So this one was a very bright one, and again seen in 6 countries in total. And we do have another one over California on the 23rd. Can't keep up with these. Utah, also on the 23rd. These are fun times. To me, things like that, that's fun. That's exciting. And then, you have these oddities. Now, what the heck? Are we looking at some sort of dinosaur here? This has to be AI. We were laughing about this, saying, here you go. Another joke, right? Let's see. Let's listen to how they're trying to portray it. Mermaids. Those are some ugly mermaids. Just cute, maybe to a raptor. But at the same time, we are in a different age, right? So it was hitting me today that now, just like we could look up in the sky and say, wait a minute, was that Starlink? When you see a whole bunch of lights in the sky, automatically you got to ask yourself, was it Starlink? If you see something that's odd, you might wonder, did Elon launch something? And now, too, I mean, we have to look at every video that comes through and say that's probably AI because it's just too good. But we're in a new age, and we are going to have an unveiling. I think we will be seeing a lot of the creatures from myths and legends. So what a great way to pre-debunk some things by AI, and now, questioning everything.
I know, just absolutely question everything, and that's where we're at.
Jen said the Utah one was her town. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of wild out there. And then you got this. He doesn't say where he is, but I think it has to be Lebanon. I think it's got to be somewhere over in that area. But if it isn't, then I'd be very curious. This is only part one. He's going to do more parts to this.
While looking on Google Earth, I saw this ancient building deep in a canyon. There was structures and stonework everywhere. As far as the eye could see, every side of the canyon was carved out. It was so bloody mysterious, so I traveled 40 hours, got on a plane, rented a car, and hiked into this canyon. Guys, this entire canyon is carved out. Not kidding. The entire canyon. Every wall was carved. Highly precise. The weathering on it looks to be like 30,000 years old. And there's so much evidence of a great flood came through there. Oh, look at the little pup. He's having a nap. But yeah, each room was full of sedimentary layers. Like a huge flood came through. And then look at the stairs. They go up there. They go way up there. Up here. And then again, look at the piping system they had all through the canyon. There's still half a pipe in there. Clay pipes. Look at that. Whoa, even more. Everywhere you look, there's carvings. Like, look how weathered that is. Like, that is thousands of years of weathering. And again, another room, completely flooded, unexcavated. Guys, can you imagine what they would find if they excavated this entire canyon? Like, there's secret tunnels that go that way, probably more down there.
This is great stuff. I mean, it does remind me, too, of Desert Drifter, who's no longer with us. A lot of the stuff that he started to uncover, he was doing a lot of exploration in the Grand Canyon. Don't forget, there's parts of the Grand Canyon that, we're not allowed to go into. It's kept, off limits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just so much that is completely hidden.
And they really do want it to stay hidden because, again, Oneness, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Oneness. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, much love. Hope everything is well, and I know it is with you. Here you have a video circulating, claims to show a dragon in Chitral. I don't know. I don't see a dragon. I don't know what that is. It looks organic, but it could be AI or... I mean, is this its whole body? If that's its whole body, it looks more like a giant snake to me. What do you guys make of this? Being somebody that's had multiple snakes, the movement feels to me kind of or legit. The movement does. But I don't know what that is.
I know we have a Karma Doc sighting, and she's saying with the last one, totally melted castles. I agree. Good. I'm glad that you made it. Sorry, no. Yeah, I sent a text, but maybe you didn't see. But still, yeah, a lot of people are not getting notifications. We're getting squashed. So I'm so glad that you're here. But back to the snake one, you guys. Yeah, that one is really, I mean, the movement looks pretty authentic, but it's huge. I mean, look how big that might be compared to those mountains. Is that even possible? So that's the only thing that makes me pause at this. It's like, how big does that have to be, or what?
It reminds me of the way Sam moves. You know, we have a python whose name is Sam, and yeah, it does move a lot like that.
It does, yeah. The snakes move a lot like that. I'm just wondering. I wish there was a better like perspective to it, because I don't know really how big those mountains are compared to this thing. What if they're just magnifying a little tiny hill, you know, and then it's no big deal. But if these mountains are as big as I think they are, that's a big creature. Even if it is just a snake, that's a big snake.
Pinch runner thinks may have a parasite. Everybody has parasites. It's a continuing battle. I add wormwood every day to my water, but we also keep clove water. I take like 20 or 30 cloves and boil them and let them simmer and seep, and then we just throw like a quart of that in the fridge, and we both like sip on it, like a couple of sips every day. Black walnut hulls are also good. You had mentioned ivermectin. Yeah, you know, again, you know, all those things are good. I always tend to go with as natural as possible. That's just me, you know, but you know, so I would always kind of go black walnut hull, clove, fresh garlic. Chop up a garlic clove, you know, let it sit for a minute or two and then put it down. That's huge detox.
Yeah, you want to pulse. I've learned that pulsing with doing, you know, parasite cleanses is good, because what those stinking things do is they'll find space up in tissues. Like when you start to work on the gut, they'll move into the gut intestinal tissue. It is really horrible. It's horrible. So you want to go slow, but you want to pulse it. So you want to hit them, especially on a full moon when they're like laying eggs. You really want to get them like that. And then, you know, give it a few days and do it again, but then wait like 3 weeks, because they'll move into the tissues, but then they'll move back down when they think the coast is clear. It's really a game fighting these stinkers, but we use ozone and it's just awesome. Karma Doc, I just want you to rest assured, Sam is in her cage and she cannot get out. She would never get near the chicks. You should see the double layers of armor we have on the chicken coop out there. Those are going to be like, those chicks will be safer than us by the time we're done.
Well, yeah. The coop is actually stronger than our house. I overbuilt it, you know, and I did do it with the mind that we could expand. You know, it would be a lot of fun. I really am enjoying them, and thank you so much, Karma Doc, for the gift, especially the gift of giving us the eggs, because it feels like we're the parents, because we watched them hatch. It was fabulous. It's so, you know, above and beyond, like, say, getting them from Tractor Supply or something, to actually watch them hatch on your own. And, you know, we know the first two that came out, you know, but the other ones lost track of how they hatched. But yeah, it's so cool. And again, thank you, Karma Doc, you know, because, you know, that was a real gift.
Yeah, the chickens are just perfect. They're perfect. So you can sell those coops with themes. I know. I think it's so fun. We could. I think, yeah, if we ever needed to, we could do something like that. We put our hearts and soul into this coop, and it's a lot of fun. And then the tornadoes were threatening today, and we're like, oh my gosh, I hope a tornado doesn't come and splinter it. But I don't think it would. This coop is pretty darn solid. It's a lot of fun. And I love that these chicks came from SHTF Farms. They are authentic SHTF chicks. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then you get a lot of people that just question things now that maybe you wouldn't have questioned before. Like, why is this cloud there? Why is it not moving? Why is it hanging so low? Why is it shaped kind of like a giant saucer? This is part of the apocalypse and part of the awakening. This is in Chile. Yeah, absolutely. They've used clouds as cover for their ships all of our lives.
Yeah, there are. I think just that person's feeling something is what I think. Because it might be just a common looking cloud, but then there's the common looking cloud, and then there's the thing where, wow, I feel something. Why do I feel like taking a video of that? I mean, listen to that in your soul. It's your DNA is speaking to you.
Absolutely, it's screaming at us. And we have this still ongoing. This is a Ukrainian drone strike which hit in Russia. This is Tuapse, and it could cause an ecological disaster on a huge scale. It's another oil refinery going up. They're obviously intent on destroying the energy and the food supply. It's so beyond obvious. By the way, a former senior advisor to the sickle maker, AF, has been indicted for his role in the Plague Upon the Land cover-up. Yeah, maybe he'll throw the sickle maker under the bus. By the way, I in case you never caught that, FAUCI literally translates to sickle maker, like the Grim Reaper. It's literally one of the translations of his last name. So, I think sooner or later we're going to see it. I'm trying to think which one it was. Was it Isabella or the Polish psychic that saw that really they're gonna meet with karma. They're not gonna escape karma. You never escape karma. You might think you escape karma, but you never escape karma.
No, you don't escape karma. You just don't. It's just something that's always there. You might get a break for a minute. You might think you do, but it makes its way back. It always makes its way back. So, yeah, there's no such thing as just getting away with something.
And an arrest warrant's been issued for James Comey, not just a court summons like last time. U.S. Marshals have been ordered by a federal judge in North Carolina to take him into custody. So, I want to see, as we all do, I'm sure, you're going to have to find some sort of island to hold all the people that are going to be implicated when we go back to 2020 and everything that's happened just in that one circumstance. The actor who ended up playing Joe Biden's body double for nearly 2 years will turn state's evidence to avoid jail time, according to sources close to the FBI investigation. Now, this could be just complete BS, but obviously there's been clearly many different JBs, many different, like here, the guy's on the street, he's got the mask on, and he's really walking weird. Oh my God. Yeah. Obviously there was more than one body double / clone when it came to JB. In fact, I think the original JB literally died before he ever became president.
I don't know. What did they have? They must have had a lot of trouble even making a clone of his. It seems like they had to make so many. None of them really worked right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a distortion of everything that we're watching here. Then this is up in Canada. The Liberals just voted to shut off the cameras at a health committee's emergency meeting on Prescribe It. Conservatives moved to call in the Auditor General to investigate how $300+ million was wasted on a failed program The Liberals' answer was to hide the discussion from Canadians and silence the opposition. Yeah, again, there's no good politicians. It's always picking the lesser of two evils. And I view them all pretty much as being guilty, until proven otherwise. And I really do pray for our Canadian friends. What a beautiful country, what beautiful people you all are, but some of the worst politicians we've seen on the planet.
Yeah, I know. It's been such a chaotic time and so many things going on. And no, there are no good politicians. They all have some type of skeleton in that closet. But, in a lot of ways we all do, but they have really big skeletons and big closets that are just cram-packed full.
Yes, absolutely. Meanwhile, the global floods keep going on. At least 19 dead in Dominican Republic and Haiti. Again, this mud flood type event that is underway, it seems to be accelerating. Again, the storms are just getting more intense. Late season snowstorm leaves 3 dead, over 76,000 without power. This is in Russia. Again, everywhere you look, extreme April rainfall. This is in China. 21 plus inches in 12 hours. The weather warfare continues. In Iran and Iraq, it's raining now. The desert's just getting flooded with water after, again, the U.S. military bases are no longer there. How much were they really controlling the weather? When you think about it, this is something I have seen dozens and dozens of these videos, that there's been a dramatic weather change. And this is, another one, after the bases are no longer functioning. And then, of course, we have the other side of it. We have a extremely critical fire weather outlook for eastern New Mexico and the far western panhandle. So be aware of that again, guys. The fires are terrifying, just like the floods. Then you have this post by Wim Den Austin. I present to you your HARP climate disruption. The high-frequency HARP transmitter is used to generate extremely very low-frequency waves by means of modulated heating of the ionosphere magnetosphere. University of Maranhão in Brazil has concluded that this can cause earthquakes, cyclones, and intense localized heating. So I asked Brave, what do you make of this? Well, Brave said the research conclusion that high-power ELF radiation generated by modulated HF heating of the ionosphere can cause earthquakes, cyclones, and intense localized heating originates from Fran de Aquino of Maranhão State University, not the University of Maranhão. I love how they try to make these distinctions, like to just negate the whole thing by saying, well, it's
split hairs.
They splitting hairs. Okay, well, it wasn't that particular university; it was a different university. But yeah, HARP, can it create earthquakes and manipulate the weather? Well, the view is not accepted by the mainstream scientific community because they're in on it. Duh.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's kind of in on it. There's that. There definitely is that, especially if there's certain pockets getting lined to keep a certain story going. That's really important. Certain storylines.
Meanwhile, we're looking at some declassified documents. CIA openly admitting they weaponized the weather to dominate the entire world. Both China and the U.S. came out with statements many years back saying that both nations believed that they would control the weather entirely by 2025. And that if you could be the nation that controls the weather, you have an advantage over any other nation. So isn't it, there's no wonder that we have all this climate warfare going on. We've talked about, made multiple videos on Operation Popeye, the U.S. military cloud-seeded Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos to extend the monsoon season by 30 to 45 days straight as a weapon of war. The 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron carried it out. LBJ personally ordered it. Just 18 months after he gave a major speech bragging about controlling the weather. Project Storm Fury, running since 1956, designed to control hurricanes and to weaken severe weather at will. Well, if they weaken it, can they amplify it? Can they amplify it and use it to attack another country? It's just a question. 30 U.S. states have already passed or proposed laws to ban weather modification. Why the sudden rush to outlaw it if it's all just conspiracy theory? He who controls the weather controls the world. That was LBJ in 1965. It's right there in front of our faces. Meanwhile, Americans feel worse off financially than at any point in 25 years. Yeah, more people are going paycheck to paycheck, living, literally week to week, month to month than ever before. And again, thank you guys for your support, because I know times are tough for most people. If it's not tough economically, then you're definitely in the minority, and that would be a blessing. It's getting worse. Everything is getting worse as far as the economy, obviously a geopolitical situation. The real question is, how much longer are we all going to tolerate it?
I know it is. It's kind of like a waiting game right now.
The other question is, how do we really stop it, change it? Again, be the change that you want to be. Do what you can do to put yourself in the best situation you can put yourself in. Whatever that looks like to you. Again, we went back and forth debating chickens and stuff for a very long time. But it was, Karma Docs, nudging us, which I think was a great thing, because, it gives us a source of protein with the eggs. And we have a lot of stuff already starting to grow now. I do intend on building a bigger greenhouse. We have a small one right now, but I do intend on doing a much bigger one. And, we're going to grow as much as we can ourselves. And, we're blessed to have situated ourselves in one of the least expensive places in the country to live. And that was done entirely on purpose. I wanted a good climate that we like. It's a little hot, but at the same time, we have a real long growing season. We got peppers and tomatoes into December. So, with a little greenhouse action, we'll be able to, get a lot of food. And there's food galore here. We're very close to a lake. It's going to be a challenging time. So we're ready for that, and mentally. And I think a lot of people, maybe they're not ready mentally.
You can only be as ready as you can be, and you can only prepare so much, and you can't prepare for everything. So just do the best you can do, and then drop it. Live your life. Just enjoy your life. If you're curious, go down rabbit holes. If you want to watch certain things, but don't obsess with trying to be ready for every little thing, because we just can't get there. Have some backup and just do your best, and then live your life.
Lily Blade says Alabama. I think Alabama's a great state for homesteading. I think Mississippi's a great state. Georgia's a great state. The Carolinas, Arkansas, Louisiana. There's Eastern Texas is wonderful. If you haven't ever been through Eastern Texas, I don't mean, Dallas, Fort Worth, but, heading more towards the Arkansas border or the Louisiana border, great areas with, you could really do pretty well and relatively inexpensive compared to many other places. Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia. We have, friends in West Virginia that have very, very successful large farms.
Yep, they do, and they do a very, very good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, new discoveries at 12,000-year-old Karahantepe So, Gobekli Tepe, this is another one that has been found that when you get into this time period, 12,000, that's the big, blinking red lights, because it's showing you that this culture was existing before the Anunnaki invasion and the dark control system took over, because we had a period of freedom and where we were interacting with a lot of entities from other realms. And so, they're uncovering human statues. What really happened? What really happened? It's interesting. They're looking at their diet, and it seems like their diet there was seasonal. They did eat legumes, and, they seem to have a mixed diet. It's just fascinating. When you get back 12,000 years, and 13 and beyond that, because things kind of disappear when you get to that area. We have everything, and the deer are coming now. I already threw some corn out for them. We have some does coming up to the window now. We have a herd of them. There's like 7 to 9 that come as soon as sunset comes. And I have no hunting signs up all around our property to, give people a clue, because, it's like, would we hunt them if we had to in a starvation situation? I don't think I really would, honestly. I really don't think I would. I'm not a hunter. It's just not really in me. I could understand why people would and did. Yet at the same time, I don't think that they're too far gone from being like a pet dog. Because again, the soul is the soul. And they're in a little different situation. Rama and Sita live in the house. They, again, are used to a little bit more of a human life. But I think you can take a baby animal like a baby deer, and it probably would be just like a dog if you raised it from a very young age.
I know I count 5 right now, right out the window, and it's so cute. It's like our little deer sanctuary. So we've gone back and forth about putting up a fence, but we don't want the deer to be locked out. But we could put up a fence and just have our own little baby deer sanctuary or something, and then fence off the fruits and vegetables and stuff so they didn't eat us out of house and home. But it's really sweet to look out there right now. We have 5. I can see 5. And then it's just a really pretty sight. We could probably even start up a YouTube channel just videotaping the deer. It'd be super sweet.
Yeah, so it did say that they were eating gazelles back then. Again, when you get back to this timeline, then we're really talking fascinating. I think it's fascinating. The Sumerian city-states that popped up everywhere about 6,000 years ago. That's the system. That's the system popping up. Before that, that's what's really interesting to me. And we had a much different society. They were matriarchal. When we go back really farther, you find that it was a matriarchal society. There are Native American tribes that are still matriarchal. And, when the husband and wife get married, he, kind of moves into the wife's family's domain. And, we were talking about how in this society, everything is done so backwards. You should honor your elders. Your elders are there to give you wisdom and guidance because they've already done it. But then, I could definitely say, would have been nice to have a younger back helping me with the project out in the yard. So, again, you raise the kids up, you teach them what you know, and then they also work and kind of help support you when you get older and you still have all your wisdom and love and guidance to share. We need to kind of rekindle those old ways. I think extended family was a beautiful thing. Like, that's kind of how it was again when I was growing up. My grandmother lived with us, yet she passed on when I was 5. So, I don't really remember her too much.
Our elders they're critical because they have a way of viewing the world that's important to our survival. Their DNA changes, their brains change, and unfortunately there's just so much poison out there these days that it just really makes most wither away. But there are some out there, and we know some that are sharp as a tack, and oh my gosh, yes, they have so much divine wisdom to give. And we should really care for our elders in a way. And then what I heard is they're trying to make it so that driver's license, they can't have them past 70. I mean, that is frightening. That past 70, really? I mean, we really need to push, because we're all going to be there. I mean, if we don't push back now, we're all going to be there. And then what if you're alone? What if you don't have a younger family member to help you? I mean, that's just not an option. That is something that cannot happen with the driver's license. I mean, if you are willing and able and sharp, you should be able to drive. That should never be even a question on the radar.
No, and that really hits me too, because shoot, I'm only going to be like 9 more years till 70, and yet I feel that I'm in better shape physically than most people. I can still outdo so many people when it comes to physical exertion, and I think my hand-eye coordination's really good. And
They just want to take away our mobility.
yeah, so I mean, I just rediscovered, because I shared with you guys, I bought a Honda XR 150, which is an on-road, off-road bike. It's carbureted. There's no computers in it at all, so it's EMP proof. This is just for like worst case scenario. Gas goes up to $10 a gallon. Well, it might already be that in some places, but again, it gives us another option, because we only had the one truck. And I don't want to get a second car and insure it and everything. So, we tried to be as thrifty as possible. And, man, I love being on the bike again. It is so freeing. It's one of the better feelings, I think, that we could have is the freedom of that air rushing by. It just feels like you're part of nature when you're out there on the bike. Now, if we could have horses, I would do that for Cindy, because Cindy loves horses probably almost as much as she loves puppies.
I think so.
So I will say, Loka Samasta Suki no Bhavantu. May all beings out there be happy, healthy, and free. May my own thoughts, words, acts, and deeds contribute to the freedom and love and the ability to enjoy your life of all beings. If we always think about it in terms of anything question, if anything comes up and you think to yourself, should I do this or shouldn't I do that? I would run it by yourself from the perspective of if I do this or don't do this, is it helping or hindering others? Is it helping to expand freedom and the ability to, it's that whole pursuit of happiness thing, which again, that shouldn't be just for the L-ites. It's for everybody, all beings. How can we be free with this system, with all the taxation, the double, triple, quadruple taxation, everything that they hit us with? The system has to go, but we have to do it in a peaceful way.
I know, and I have some prayers tonight. We want to send out prayers. We have a family member whose pup had to go in for surgery today, so we want to send out prayers to Chester. Prayers to Anna that she gets what she needs done, that she gets the house and the place that she wants and all the things. And then thank you so much to KK, Susan D, Oneness for helping us with tonight's video and, helping us for our time that we spend with you guys. We really, truly enjoy it. And here's some dings for you guys. Here we go. You guys are awesome. Source bless and namaste.
Much love, guys. Much gratitude.